Hello, and thank you for joining us here on NCI Live. My name is David Groth, and I'm a technical solutions specialist here at Network Center. Joining me today is John Ryan, who's also a technical solutions specialist here at Network Center. Uh, Today, we're going to be talking about the latest 365 updates that have happened since last quarter. But before we really get into that, I want to just make sure everybody remembers that we are live on both YouTube and LinkedIn. If you happen to be watching us on either of those platforms, feel free to chat us your questions. We will do our best to answer those questions live on the air. And with that, John, welcome. How you doing today?
Hey, thank you for having me. I look forward to talking about some 365 updates. This is a little bit of a catch-up update as some of the stuff came out in the fourth quarter of last year, but there's a lot of new stuff that's being released every day. So it's nice to be able to let everybody know what's going on and what the latest is with the Microsoft 365 environment.
Absolutely. Well, let's kind of start off just briefly and talk just real quick. When most people think of 365, we're thinking about some people may not even be using it. What is Microsoft 365? Let's just establish like a base layer here, quick.
Well, I think a lot of people relate it to email in the cloud. I think because that's kind of what was first used as. But really, the Microsoft 365 environment is, the hosted environment that Microsoft offers that ranges anywhere from SharePoint, OneDrive, email, applications, security, authentication, everything that you can do now in the cloud that you used to only be able to do on site. So it's kind of giving everyone, a cloud-based environment to do some of the most critical parts of their daily work within a business.
Right. And the key point there is that it's expanding, right? They're constantly growing it, constantly updating it, and rather than having it as an expense that you shell out money for, you know, 3 times a year, 4 times a year, once a year, whatever that is, it's just a subscription based. So you factor that in as subscription, but you'll get all the new products and things as they come out, as they get added to. Hence why we're talking today, right?
Yeah, and I think as people get more comfortable with the product set that they use, the more they start exploring some of the other tools that are available. And a lot of this stuff, is included in some of the licensing that you already might have. So, and just not using it. I think we're all guilty of using Outlook, but we're using Outlook to maybe 10 or 15% of its capabilities.
Right. Yep.
And
Yeah.
as we learn more about it, the more, we get to be more efficient and explore other tools.
Right. And there's, it's the 80-20 rule. 80% of the people use 20% of a program's features, right?
Sure.
So, yeah. Well, with that, let's get into some of these updates that we've been talking about. What's new for those people who are out there that actually already have it? What are some of the new things that have been introduced in the last quarter?
Yeah, so the
And
big thing was Ignite, right? So that came out, Microsoft Ignite was fourth quarter of last year. And basically, a lot of this stuff was announced. Now, some of this stuff is in pre-release. Some of it is not fully available yet. But there's a lot of things that came out that are just kind of expanding that 365 universe, right?
and
So,
to be clear, Ignite is their conference, their annual conference. It's not a
yep.
product; it's their annual conference. Yep. Okay.
Yep. And so in that, as you can see on the screen, there's a list of things that were kind of highlighted. There are more things in the works and things being worked on every day, with Microsoft and the 365 environment. But these are just kind of the things that were highlighted, things that are either in beta or pre-release that people can actually start to experience. Some stuff you have to get on a waiting list in order to use it. Some of these tools you can use for a short period of time and then you kind of get bumped out of them. But basically just to kind of, kick the tires and let Microsoft, figure out maybe what kind of issues might be out there or what kind of usage it actually gets. So But we'll go through each one of these. As you can see, there's a new thing called Teams Premium. That's a pretty big announcement. It's a pretty big advanced environment for Teams that you can use. The avatars are really cool. That'll be fun to talk about. Microsoft Places. So now when you think about your your building and how Microsoft can kind of help you organize checking out of rooms and locations within the building. And we'll go through each one of these individually. I don't want to get too far into each one of them without bringing up screenshots and whatnot. But really cool stuff. We have one kind of late ad here from the announcement yesterday with the Bing Chat GPT, which is a big thing now too, AI driven searching through Bing with Microsoft. So
I've noticed a trend in the last, it's been coming for quite a while, but in the last quarter, in the last 6 months, AI has really started to take jumps. It's been included in more and more products, and as Microsoft has increased, they have their whole Azure back end, and the processing of the power of the Azure, but they're starting to increase it more and more and more as to what they're using it for. And just in the last 3 months, with the Open AI and Chat GPT, if you happen to not be following that, I highly recommend people take a look at that. But obviously, we'll be talking about that later. So,
sure. So let's get into it with the Microsoft Premium, Teams Premium. So this is like an expansion of the Teams experience versus kind of what you're used to with the basic version of Teams. If you're familiar with using the Teams interface, you'll see that this is quite a bit more advanced than what comes straight out of the box. It is a license upgrade to get it. But it does give you a lot more to do with Teams meetings. So if you are a company that relies heavily on Teams for a lot of your daily meetings, it's kind of your remote workforce would probably use it a lot, as well as even people within your walls of your organization. But they're introducing a lot of different tools, so like meeting guides and templates, making it easier to set up meetings, making it quicker, being able to template things for like quarterly or reoccurring type meetings. There's customized meeting branding, so now you can put your logo all over it too. So if you are meeting, externally, and you want this to be
very
branded
cool.
To look more like an experience with your company.
Right.
An intelligent recap. So there's different tools in there that allow you to send out meeting notes, recaps from transcripts from meetings. Live translation for captions. So that's something that's been available in a limited fashion with normal Teams meetings, but now is a little bit more advanced. The advanced meeting protection, so being able to control who can attend meetings, who can forward meetings, basically just giving you a little bit more security in that. That realm of sharing, I guess that happens a lot. There's advanced virtual appointments. So this kind of goes a little bit more into the scheduling piece of it and being able to give you more abilities to make virtual appointments with select users.
Yeah.
Appointment queuing, which is it's a little bit different than just a waiting room, but you can do appointment queuing to give people an experience while they're waiting before they enter a meeting. The meeting analytics, who's attending the meeting, how long did they stay, what kind of feedback did they give, if they used any of the emojis or any of that kind of stuff.
Did they participate?
Did they participate? Yeah. Or were they just kind of an attendee, automated reminder emails, SMSs, just different ways to get people aware that meetings are happening.
Mhm.
You see it now with somebody starts a meeting and it pops up on your screen and tells you that a meeting has started. So they're trying to get into more of those advanced functions to be able to make sure that everybody knows that it's going on right now, virtual green room, that's an area that you can kind of, the presenters can talk about pre-meeting topics before they start presenting or before you kick off a meeting. So it kind of gives you a warm-up room to be able
Mhm.
to discuss things quick before you jump on live. A lot of times
Right.
that's done within the meeting, and then you just kind of wait to allow people to join. But if you have the waiting room turned off, let's say, and you're just letting people dump into the meeting with the curtain warmer, this will give you a different area to discuss things quick before you jump into the meeting as presenters.
Right.
Registration, both start and end times, so you can register for meetings, which is different than just accepting a meeting request. You can that way people who are putting on the meeting can see how many people are going to be attending. Maybe they're worried about amount of questions or time to leave at the end for questions or for wrap up or whatever it
Mhm.
happens to be. If they get a lot of attendees, they're going to probably try to account for more time at the end. So
Or like for a paid event or something.
sure, yep.
Yep.
Um, registration, wait list, and manual approval. So you can, if you're full, you can kick people over to a wait list so that they can get, if somebody cancels or doesn't join, it can let other people in. And you do have a manual approval process now. So if somebody is asking to be let into a meeting, you can manually approve them as opposed to just doing it on the fly like we're used to doing. And then advanced webinar controls. So when you're in the meeting, they're going to have a different, I guess, controls for how you control the meeting, where you can see kind of in the screen there how you're displaying people who are joining with cameras, how you're sharing your content. There's going to be a set of advanced webinar controls. And I would assume in the future that we'll probably do a little bit more of a deep dive into something like this,
Hmm.
or individually with customers while we're doing demos. We'll do a deep dive into some of these features to see if it's something that people would use to upgrade from the normal Teams to the Teams Premium.
For sure. I would like to just say two quick things and make comments about this because obviously I've done some of the demos as well as even some NCI Live on the Teams. The two features that stick out here that really make Teams Premium a thing is the live translation for captions. If you've never seen it's incredible. You could have somebody on the other end of the Teams meeting that speaks, that only speaks some other language, and the language list is very large. I think it's like 42 languages, everything from Japanese, Chinese, Swedish, Norwegian, Spanish, Italian, German, and it will translate what they're saying live in real time to your language. So it's pretty incredible. Then the other thing is the advanced virtual appointments. Think of a doctor's office appointment. Like you want to do a virtual appointment, you've got to, queue it up. You want to say, I want to have a virtual appointment. Well, it can remind you of that virtual appointment using the automatic reminder SMS, and you can pick what time you want to have that. And it'll say, hey, you're going to have an appointment at this time. And then the doctor will have on their calendar, you've got 10 virtual appointments. So it's just like having a virtual doctor's office. So these two features kind of really stuck out to me when I read about them. So anyway, I just had to make those comments because I
Yep.
thought those were and then the intelligent recap. It uses there's where the AI thing kind of comes into play. It actually builds that recap live. Like, hey, these are things that I picked out that need to be done. And then it distributes that as part of the meeting.
Yeah, and I think
So
too, if let's say you have a meeting where you have a lot of interaction at a certain point in the meeting, then it kind of tips you off to, well, that's important to talk about maybe
mhm.
further with the
Yep.
employees or with uh, customers or whatever, whoever you're speaking with.
Absolutely. Anyway, I know we have other things to talk about, but I wanted to point
Yep.
those out specifically.
So Microsoft Teams avatars, this is a really cool thing. Actually, David and I got a chance to see this live demoed, which is
Yeah.
really cool. So if you're a little self-conscious about being on camera, which a lot of people are, you can actually create an avatar of yourself. The cool part about it is you can actually animate the avatar so that when you speak, the mouth and the head of the avatar actually moves. So it's kind of like somebody is watching a cartoon at that point. So
Yeah.
you can do things like set it as your team's picture, recording messages. So you can have your avatar kind of record a message for you saying, John's not here right now, or I'm not here right now, and
Mm.
your avatar will actually do it for you. So very cool, customizable, as you can see with the pictures there. There's all sorts of different kind of clothes and hairstyles and everything that you can put in there. And this is just to kind of personalize the experience. A lot of people, a lot of times will, and I'm kind of guilty of it too, will keep themselves off camera. Mainly for me because of my hair, but for other people, if they're just
Gosh.
self-conscious, yeah, you have like twice the amount of hair on your head than I do. Um, so it's one of those things where you can kind of get a little bit more into kind of using it and having fun with it.
Yeah. I like to think of it as like the Sims for teams, but you're one of the Sims. It's
Yeah.
and you're right. I mean, we saw it. It is really well done. Um, and so the mouth movements, it matches your voice pretty accurately. I won't say it's 100%, but
Yeah, and
accurate
it's
enough to
actually
where you know
it's
where
actually
you're talking.
almost kind of shocking when somebody starts using it when they're talking to you because you're not ready for it. You're
Yeah.
waiting for like a picture of a regular person to come up, and all of a sudden it's this little cartoon person. So,
Yeah.
very cool, very fun. As you can see, Microsoft is trying to do more things to, get people excited about using the environment. So this is just another thing.
So I want to make a point here. A lot of people out there might be saying, why is this useful? It's kind of like emojis. Emojis really inherently aren't useful. And my thought is, and really, I think Microsoft's whole drive for this, if you look at their product line and the changes they're making, they actually have directives internally as to let's bring the hybrid workforce together in whatever ways we can to make people as efficient as possible, but also not lose that culture experience, right? Because people want to have a culture of fun and interactivity, but also be able to do their work in whatever method is works for them. But then on the IT side, we've got to have security and manageability and accountability. So if you look at the features that you just ran over, they all match up with that, right? And the other
Mhm.
ones we're going to be talking about too, I think are going to feed into that same philosophy. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think it helps personalize the experience, and that's
Mhm.
what they're trying to do is instead of you just being an attendee on a call, you can actually be in an animation or an animated version of yourself on the call. So
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody creates one of these things and then it becomes kind of an internet fad, where the person that they have created through this becomes kind of um,
Hmm.
the thing that everybody wants to see. So
Yep, yep, yep. I just want to remind everybody, if you're watching live, please chat us your questions. We do have quite a little bit of time left here, about halfway through. Uh, like I said, feel free to chat us live, and we'll answer whatever questions we can. So let's go ahead and continue on. I know we've got quite a few more things to cover here.
Yep. So this is Microsoft Places. If you've ever had to schedule a meeting room in your own building before, you can usually just add it as a resource to Outlook. This is actually an application that's available through 365 that allows you to actually upload maps of your environment and allows you to schedule meeting locations based on the maps. You can also share your location where you're going to be. So if somebody's looking for you, they can find you. Or if, it happens all the time, right? Which
Hmm.
conference room is this one? Where is this? Is it upstairs? Is it downstairs? Especially buildings that have, as you can see on here, it says building 4. Obviously, they
Mhm.
have a lot of meeting locations. So being able to reserve places, do bookings, hoteling, whatever you're having to do, this actually makes it way easier for you to kind of schedule all of this stuff.
Mhm.
Typically in the past, you've always had like either RENF team or an admin or something that has managed all of the
Mhm.
locations for all these people.
Mhm.
Now you can do this through a piece of software, and it allows you to find places to meet and people that you're looking for or people that you're planning on meeting with on the fly.
Right. So you could like you'd have a Teams, for example, if it's a Teams room, you could say, "Hey, John is in the Teams room right now having a meeting," and you'd see the map of the building saying they're in this room on the fourth floor. That's where they're at. Now, as of right now, it's not doing like sensors and badges and all that. I mean, in theory, it could, right? But right now,
Right,
that's not what this is for.
right.
This is just for resource management and the ability to see, do we have enough people in the building? So whether they're here in the building or whether they're working off site as well, right?
Yep. Yeah, and everything has reports. All of the stuff that we talk about in 365 has reports, so you can go back and look and see, oh, on that day, we were at full
Mm.
capacity with all of our rooms.
Okay.
So the next time we have, maybe a um, whatever technology fair or whatever you're working on, we're going to need to move it to a larger location, or so
Gotcha.
something to kind of help plan for the future piece of it.
Absolutely. Awesome. Very cool.
This is another one of those AI, I guess, intelligent builders, if you want to call it that. You can actually uh, automate content within, uh, documents based on this intelligent AI. It's called Microsoft Syntax. You can use custom models for document processing. So basically, you can say, I have this kind of information. I need to create this document. And you can basically tell Syntax to place things within a document based on, more of a thought than necessarily typing words or content in it. So you can
Mhm.
kind of automate your content from it. So you
Mhm.
can have it pull from the internet and do different types of call ups or searches to get more content brought in. The
Mhm.
pictures don't really give you a good indication of how it works, but basically you can be typing a document and they go, okay, I want to reference this article, and you
Mhm.
can basically use syntax to find that article and put a reference line in there. So
Mhm.
that's probably the easiest way to explain it.
Mm. The other thing I understood that it can do is that if you have a bunch of data, just a bunch of jumbled data in your Teams or OneDrive or SharePoint, wherever, but they're similarly formatted. Invoices is one of the examples they use, and you want to pull out all of the, automatically just say, hey, I want, whenever a document drops in that's an invoice, grab the address out of it. And you're doing, say, Power Automate, say, grab the address and automatically put it into our CRM and Dynamics and other things that can do that kind of stuff as well. So it's kind of the reverse. It does both.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool.
Microsoft Designer, this is in pre-release right now. This is actually a really cool way to pull in content, a lot of graphical content from the internet, and allow you to generate images for any kind of you know uh, piece of documentation that you're trying to use, where you can actually pull in different types of social media graphics, or like in the picture there, you can type in kitten adoption day, and it'll help you bring in and build that content. So it'll pull pictures of kittens and allow you to kind of annotate on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
and allow you to quickly put together content for social media or a poster, whatever you happen to be working on. This also uses AI to do it. So as you're speaking into it or typing into it, it's constantly refreshing the screen, looking for
Mm-hmm.
stuff that matches with what you're talking about.
Right.
So
Yep.
very cool. It's a different type of a designer type program than you're probably used to. A lot of people are used to using like Publisher or something like that, where you actually have to like manually load in stuff. This kind of like gives you ideas of what to do as you're working on it. So
So if I'm understanding correctly, you don't go Google an image and paste it into Photoshop or whatever, and then type something and do whatever. Like it'll actually just you start searching and it figures out based on what you're saying what kind of an
what you
image
want to
you're
do.
looking for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Very cool.
And like it shows here, there's over 100 million images and videos that you can pull into your content. So if you can't find what you need,
Yeah.
you're not describing it correctly, I guess. So
Very, very cool.
the Microsoft Teams Cisco partnership, David, I might let you talk about this because I know you're pretty passionate about this piece of it.
No worries. So effectively, in the past, both you had Teams rooms kits, and then you had the Cisco room kits, and you could do WebEx meetings on a Teams room, and you could do, and that was fairly simple. But in order to do a Teams meeting on a Cisco kit, it required a special license from Cisco, and even then, it was a little bit cumbersome. Now they just announced that you can actually upgrade the firmware on one of these devices to work directly with Teams. That includes some of certain models of their phones, certain models of their Cisco hardware. I happen to have one right back here. This one could actually work directly with Teams as a Teams room kit. Cisco Spark boards also could be used as Teams room devices, and you would log into them with Teams. They would be used and licensed as room Microsoft room devices. So that is a really cool thing. I mean, effectively, Cisco says, "Look, we're we want to keep doing what we're doing, and they do have a great space in the WebEx space, but what's happening is people are coming in with implementing Microsoft Teams company wide, and they don't like if they've already got an investment in these devices, they don't like the cumbersome way it is to get to a Teams connection. So they've just said, okay, fine, you bet, we'll make this happen. And there's full interoperability amongst the platforms. It's really cool. So I highly
Yeah,
recommend
and
it.
as I understand it too, so Teams and WebEx, are kind of competitors
Mm,
in the communication or collaboration space.
yep,
But for a while now, you've been able to kind of use the WebEx calling piece in Teams. So if you
within it.
had
Yep,
Teams, yeah, you could make calls using the WebEx Teams backend or WebEx calling backend.
yep. You'd have the
Um,
WebEx app within the Teams program,
right.
but they do integrate absolutely.
But now this is like full integration for
Mm.
pretty much everything they have now, because I don't think there's anything that's disparate, is there, between the two?
Not really, no, not
Yeah,
really. There's a few things, I mean, outlying things, but the bulk of the functionality is going to be there. It was specifically with the room devices. They are upgrading the firmware to the point where it is a Teams room kit.
sure.
It doesn't boot up with, Cisco room device and have the Cisco look and feel. No, it has the Microsoft look and feel. So it's very cool. So,
So the last thing that we'll go through here, I see we have a minute to talk about this, but basically Microsoft is working with OpenAI, and my slide is a little goofy there, but OpenAI's ChatGPT to create some AI-powered searches through Bing. So you can go to the Bing search and you can do AI-powered searches. You can speak to search. It does use AI technology to look up queries and as related to the request, but the AI piece of it, and David, you might be able to speak a little bit more about this, but the AI piece of it is combing kind of the entire internet for anything related, instead of just stuff that has search engine optimization or things that have been registered for searching. This actually allows you to do searches that go deeper into the content that's available on the internet using this OpenAI ChatGPT technology.
Yep. This was just announced yesterday, and Satya Nadella got made a big deal out of this. Effectively, it uses the OpenAI, which is the piece behind ChatGPT that does all the AI stuff, and they're powering it with, of course, Azure power, the power of the Azure cloud. And the cool part is, let's say, for example, I go into Bing and I say, plan a trip to Mexico. Let's be more specific. Plan a trip to Mexico City for a week. This will come back with, okay, your flight leaves, I suggest your flight leave this weekend from here to here, and here's the best hotels, and here's some of the best sightseeing to do. Would you like me to book it? And it will go through and do all of that for you. It's next level search functionality, and it's conversational. And like, you wouldn't know the difference if you were talking to a human. Some people have said that ChatGPT is the closest thing they've said to passing a Turing test. Hasn't gotten there yet, but very close. So impressive, ChatGPT. And I suggest, if you haven't already started looking, look at what ChatGPT. They're talking about it changing how work is done. So please take a look at it. Well, having a minute to talk about it is not nearly enough.
Right.
So, well, we hit it pretty close there, John. That's lots of features, and there's even more. I mean, they release monthly updates, and most of them are they're smaller. But the great thing about 365 is they're constantly releasing updates, constantly. Everything,
Constantly
new
building the
features, new
environment.
pieces. Yep, exactly. So I just wanted to say, thanks for joining us today, John, and giving us all the information that you have on the 365 updates.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to thank everybody out there for joining us. If you have questions that we didn't answer on this broadcast, feel free to visit our website at www.netcenter.net. Email us at info@netcenter.net, or subscribe to our social media channels, YouTube or LinkedIn especially, so you can be notified of these broadcasts. But you got to hit subscribe or the notification bell on the YouTube channel. So thanks again, and we appreciate you joining us today on NCI Live. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.